Hey guys, welcome back. Today I am visiting my good buddy Garry Price, and Garry is the owner of this beautiful piece of New Zealand rallying history right behind me here. This is a Ford Escort Mark II RS1800. It's a very special car in that it was built by the famed Masport team for privateer racer Richard Kelsey. And aside from its lineage, it's actually quite a rare beast as well because it still has its original body shell, which is quite a rare thing on a vintage rally car. But anyway, come take a look at this thing. I've got a real soft spot for these Mark II Escorts. I used to own one myself many years ago, a 1600 Sport. Sold it way too cheap, of course, story of my life. But this car right here, this is something really special. In 1979, Richard Kelsey entered the New Zealand Motor Guard Rally, and this was basically New Zealand's big international rally at the time. And he was racing a Ford Escort, and he was only 19 years old at the time. And he entered, a year later, he entered the 1980 Motor Guard, and it was while testing, he crashed his car and he wrote it off. And so he approached the Masport racing team about building him a new car in time to contest the rally. And he actually went along and helped build the car alongside Masport, and this car right here is the outcome. So what can I tell you about the Masport team that you don't already know? Basically, it was a Ford factory team, I guess, or the next best thing. Had a direct line through to Borum, received all the latest parts and technology that went into their cars. Ran cars for Blair Robson and Jim Donald here in New Zealand. Jim Donald won the New Zealand Rally Championship. Brought out the likes of Ari Vartanen, Hanu Mikkola, Russell Brooks and others. Richard Kelsey's RS1800 really had some amazing pedigree to it. Okay, so this car was originally registered JX2767. Of course, rally cars, rallies take place on public roads, so rally cars have to be road registered. And it was originally yellow. I assume that when they went to build the car, they just plucked a yellow Mark II Escort from the local Ford dealer forecourt and rebuilt it for rallying. But anyway, Richard Kelsey raced the car from 1980 through to 1982. Being an RS1800 built car, would have been fitted with a BDA, probably 1850 cc's or so. But this motor actually blew in testing just before the 1980 Motor Guard Rally, and so the Masport team loaned him a 1700cc BDA from its famous Mark I Phoenix Escort, which was a fairly famous Mark I that had been wrecked and rebuilt several times, hence the name. But anyway, Kelsey finished 20th outright and first in class in the 1980 Motor Guard Rally, finished 11th outright and third in class in 1981. Obviously took part in a bunch of other different rallies during this period as well. I sold the car to Gordon Edwards in 1982. Edwards entered the 82 Motor Guard but didn't finish. Then it was sold to Peter Grimmer, who at some point re-registered it. So the new registration number became ML8935. And he campaigned it for a bunch of years in a whole lot of different rallies, sometimes with a pushrod motor and sometimes with a BDA. And he last ran it in 1991. And at some point during this later ownership, it was repainted white. Radon Smith found the car and bought it in 1992. And at the time, he was restoring the old Wilmot Racing Mark I Escort Escort Twin Cam, original factory car that had run in the British Saloon Car Championship in 1968 and 1969. Came out here to New Zealand in late 1969 and was raced really successfully by Jim Richards, a young Jim Richards. Radon basically bought the old Kelsey Mark II and removed the motor and the gearbox, which went into the Willamette twin cam. When Garry first bought the car, he built a full race 2-litre Pinto engine for it, backed by a Quaife gearbox, but he drove it sort of 5 minutes down the road and he hated it. So he plucked the full driveline out, and he has just recently fitted this here, a Cosworth BDG engine with the alloy engine block. This is backed by a 5-speed ZF gearbox with 1:1 top ratio and an Atlas rear end. So it's a fully period correct driveline for one of these cars. The BDG was sort of commonly referred to in period as an alloy block BDA. I love these hinges here. They're so cool the way that they've been drilled out for lightning. But he still hasn't finished. He hasn't quite finished wiring everything up, plugging everything together. So the car currently is non-running. But yeah, it's a fully period correct driveline now. Okay, let me show you the interior. Again, this is an area that Garry's been working on to get it all period correct, including sourcing this amazing Howder Twin Master distance counter and, of course, flexible torch. All must-have items in your 1980s rally car. Gauges and switches and things. Again, this is details that he's been working on. Original Spring-Elect steering wheel. And these amazing Autosport bucket seats. Garry actually found a Citroen 2CV pickup truck that had these seats fitted in it. So he's bought the truck just to get the seats for this car. So yeah, so cool. It's all in the details. I love this view from the rear. Oh, and I should point out, by the way, the Masport team built its cars, its Mark II Escorts, with metal flares. And this car still has metal flares. Most of these Mark II Escorts had fiberglass flares. But yeah, of course, mini light wheels, also period correct for tarmac rallying. And yeah, just a cool piece of New Zealand rally history and a cool piece of Masport history.